Hey golfers, thanks for tuning in to umo.golf. Today we're going to be getting into why early extension is not the problem and show you a drill on how to find your best posture in your setup. So let's get to work. Hey golfers, want to continue this discussion on why early extension is not your problem. It's a lack of rotation. So thanks to our friends at Gear Sports, we have here a PGA Tour winner, and I just want to show you. So at address, he's at 24.43 degrees. We'll just call it 24 degrees of forward hip bend or pelvis bend. So a couple things I want you to notice, and obviously this isn't to scale, but if you take a look, and I'll get into showing you how there's a drill you can use to establish how much bend you need to have in the golf swing. But based on, I'm much taller than this golfer at 6'5", so my balance or my distance from where the wall is to my knees is much greater than what this tour player is. So that's going to have an impact. So a lot of times, if you're bent over more, have more hip flexion, which I do, there's no way that you can have the same wall that these tour players have because they're going to have less hip flexion or forward bend, I mean. So you can create your own wall, and we'll get into that. But I just want to show you this. So here, as the player takes it back all the way up to the top, obviously you can see there's the traditional going into the wall. But what I want you to notice is already he's gone and reduced the amount of forward hip bend. In this case, it's 18 degrees. So he's replaced it with side bend. And as he's coming through on the way down, you can start seeing that number 17, 13, 7. Those hips are working up and under him. He's going into extension. So he's extending his hips. But he's replacing it with side bend. So it's really this outside of his left leg, in this case because he's right-handed golfer, outside your lead leg, is really what's going to be working up against the wall. Okay? So he's not staying in his posture at all. He's actually working his hips under and forward in its rotation. So based on that, don't worry about staying up on the wall because you can see here, this is more of my balance. So my wall, which would be closer to the approximately a couple inches, about 3-4 inches away from back of the foot, you can see my wall actually starts out another 4 more inches. So I have to actually work a much less of a wall compared to what video is. So I'll show you a drill on how to find your good distance from the ball with the forward bend and everything else coming up. But I just want to emphasize 24 degrees at address, and now through impact, you can see that that's down to 3-4 degrees. And it's actually now here at this point, it's positive. So right pre-impact, less than 1 degree of forward bend. So early extension is not the problem. You actually do need to extend and come up out of your posture. Just replace it with side bend. That's simple. Now let's take a look at a drill on how you can find your best rotation with awesome extension. Okay, golfers, real simple drill. Just put a club across your sternum, and all you're going to do is stand nice and tall, rotate back. And we're not worried about posture right now. We're not worried about a forward bend at all. I just want you to get a good rotation in. Okay? And then from there, we're going to rotate forward. So again, just out of natural habit, I'm still a little bit bent over, but I'm really working on trying to get those hips up and through. So then we'll just bring it back, rotate again, then go ahead and get my posture. Okay, so that's a feeling. There's my backswing feeling. A little bit of extension. I've lost some hip flexion. That's all good. I'll stand back up, rotate forward, get those hips underneath me, and there we go. There's the feeling. I'm already in my bend. So that simple of a drill on how to just get through good extension both in the backswing and into the finish. And now we'll take this up against the wall, and I'll show you when things don't go right because you don't get enough extension. Okay, golfers, going to show you here what happens when you do not extend through the ball. So if you try to keep your posture and you're wondering why this happens, I'll explain it to you. So as I'm just working in this and really trying to get the hips up, which I do a horrible job here, it's way too late. Now the center of my mass is still outside my body, and guess what happens? It's outside my feet, and now I lose my balance, and away I go. So if you find yourself losing balance, you're not into good extension here. You still have too much forward bend in your finish. Okay, golfers, now all we do is take this drill and move it up against the wall. So I want to be about 6 inches away from the wall when I start. You'll have to kind of tweak yours to find out where you feel more comfortable. But again, we're just going to go ahead and wind up, standing pretty tall, and then I'm going to get in my posture until I feel that wall. Now, if all of a sudden I bend over too much, that wall is going to push me over. So you got to kind of play around with how much bend you have versus how far you're away from the wall. And then from there, all I did in this case was just grab the club, and I wanted to get a feel for that's coming down. And that made it a lot easier to start working my hips up. And from here, I would even like to see my hips open up more, really get the outside of that left leg, my lead leg, up against that wall, and get those hips up underneath me. And that's just something, a bad habit I've gotten into, is staying too centered and staying in my posture too long. But this drill of we're just winding up, finding your posture, and then now we have to get to the opposite side of it. And I really want you to open up right here, much more than I am right now. So thanks for watching. Work on this indoors. So if you're still up north and it's still winter, no excuse why you can't work on this, because you don't need to hit balls. But this starts developing a feel for your movement patterns. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you guys soon. Don't forget to subscribe. Later.